Well guys, we are back in my new food plot. I haven't really come up with a name for it yet, so I want you guys to stay tuned today as we do a little more work, try to share with you a little bit more what's going on. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe and hit that bell icon down below so you can follow along. I'm going to be posting videos throughout the spring and the summer as I work on this plot. It is, again, my channel is geared towards those guys that don't have a lot of time, don't have a lot of money, and just want to try to get some stuff ready for deer season so they have some possibilities of success. So if you like that, or that may appeal to what you're trying to do at your food plots, hit subscribe and follow along. Stay tuned. All right guys, I am back again in my new food plot, and I'm going to be doing a little work today. One of the things that I said in my last video is I was going to try to walk the edge and get a good feel for it. I hadn't really had a chance to do that yet, and so today, before I get started on the chainsaw, I'm going to walk the edge of this area to give myself a little bit better idea of how much acreage we're talking about here. If I had to guess just from looking at it, by the time I get the clearing done, which is not going to be a simple task in itself, but once I get the clearing done, I think I'm going to be close to about an 1/8 to 1/4 of an acre, somewhere around there. It's not going to be a huge food plot, but this property also has a lot of pasture down below, which the cows run on throughout the year. And so there's going to be some forage and stuff down there for them anyway. They don't necessarily have a lot of clover down there, which is what I'm going to try to be putting in here. So I'll hopefully give them a secondary type of a location for them to eat at, maybe a staging area. I'm going to apologize right now, guys. It's a little windy here in Missouri, so I'm trying to kind of stay down in the cedars to where it's not too windy as I do my opening video here. But just to try to give you some feedback on what's going on and to keep you guys posted on this project, and then tell you kind of what's going on. So here in just a little bit, I'm going to walk the edges, show you guys that here in an overlay in just a minute, and kind of show you the layout of the plot, how it's going to look on Hunt Stand. And then from there, I'm going to do a little bit more work today and try to, ultimately, it's going to take several days of this. Right now I'm walking around kind of the outside edge of the plot, and as you can see behind me, there's just all kinds of little cedar trees, tiny little hickory trees that are growing up in here. And then encompassed with that, you look up here behind me, there's a couple of decent trees back in there that I'm going to leave. And then on the outside edges, I'm going to do a little bit of trimming as well. Just down through here, there's a lot of little brush. So I'm going to try to reclaim as much of this little circle in the woods here that I can and see what happens. So let's get to work. Well guys, I've put in about not quite 2 hours of work, about an hour and a half or so. Pulled some camera cards, looked at what I've had so far since we put this up here early in January. I think I put the camera out like January 16th, right after bow season ended. And so it's been out here about not quite a month, and I've already got some pretty good pictures of what's kind of going on in here. The attractant that I put on my mineral lick seems to have done the trick. I had pictures pretty much within a very short amount of time, and then after about a few days, I had a pretty good size herd of 8 to 9 deer in here off and on. So the video that you will see posted before this one is actually a walk that my son and I did through the snow, trying to pull up some trails, and it actually shows my mineral lick in the snow and how all the deer tracks are around it. So they're definitely using this area. I took some pictures of what the plot looks like from one general area. I've already been doing some work on the plot, so it's not really a before and after type of a situation, but at least it gives you a pretty good idea of what it looks like before I get this all done. I'm going to take you for a quick walk around here and show you a few things. And as I do, I just wanted to kind of show you what exactly it is that I'm trying to work on. It's about right at 1/4 of an acre. If I get all these trees cleared out of here, which obviously some of the larger trees I'm not going to remove completely, but I'm going to open up this little triangle section in the woods as a staging slash, definitely wouldn't call it a destination food plot, but a fairly good size area of clover, maybe some winter wheat, some rye, and then maybe come in and do some crimping in the spring, and maybe do some rotations in here to help the soil improve slightly. But the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to throw a little bit of clover on as well today. We're supposed to get a pretty good rain, and then hopefully see a little bit take off from that. It's about $4 worth of clover. It's not a lot. I'm going to pull some soil samples today. I'm going to send that off and get a soil evaluation back hopefully in the next few weeks, and start getting an idea of what I will need to do to amend the soil once I get all the trees cleared out. So let me walk you around here a little bit and show you the edges, show you what I'm doing, and as I do, just kind of look at the plot and show you kind of what my plan is. So first and foremost, starting up in the corners and walking around, it makes a big triangle, and as I walk around, you'll kind of see what I'm looking at here, but there's a lot of little hickories and cedar trees in this area, and a couple of oaks. So what I'm planning on doing is cutting out as much of the big cedars and the little tiny scrubby hickories and other little, I guess, elm trees and other things in here that are just 1 to 2 inches in diameter, get those all cleared out the best that I can. There's a couple of trees in here that are 6 to 8 inches around or bigger. I'm probably not going to take all of those just because I think it will open the plot up maybe too much. But the goal would be to open up, as you can see, some of these cedars, get rid of these cedars, open up the main portion of the plot, leave a couple of the larger trees, spray and kill any of the native grasses that are in here that will compete with the clover at first, and then clear out any of the brush that's in this middle of the plot. The outsides of the plot has a little, I guess it would be a blackberry or a brush of some sort, and clear out that brush, but leave the edges, cut some trails in and out of the plot, and I'm going to feather some of the edges with the brush that I'm clearing off of here. I am not going to make a complete circle around this plot. I've heard people have different stories about that and trying to direct deer. I am going to try to direct deer to a point. In other words, I'm trying to stack these in areas where they can still have easy access, where I've already notified some trails, but then also maybe limit some of the vision around the plot, especially in areas where I think I'm going to be able to put up a deer stand. So if I can maybe pile some screens and things there on the edges where I think I might be up in a tree, or where I might be coming into the edge of the plot to hunt off of, those are some of the things that I'm looking at for this plot. But as you guys can see, not a huge area, but it's definitely up in the woods. I'm going to give you a picture here of the Hunt Stand app of kind of where I walk the edges. I'm not going to pan out too far, don't want to give away my hunting spots, but you'll see that this is right in the middle of the woods. There's woods about 100 yards north of the plot. There's woods about 150 to 200 yards south of the plot, all the way down to the pasture, and then 150 to 200, probably closer to 300 yards to the east of the plot into another pasture, and then probably 400, 500, 600 yards the other way is just thick timber. And when my son and I walked in, did not see a lot of heavy trails in that area. So this is kind of a central hub area. There's already trails cut in it. There's already some side-by-side trails cut through this area of the woods, and I think that's what the deer tend to use the most through here. So I'm going to have to really work on some entry and exit points and some good deer stands. Been bending over too long, had to burp. So with all that, guys, Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've got several more to come. Obviously, I spent almost 2 hours today, and I didn't even get a quarter of the way through the trees that I wanted to cut. I did get a pretty good section done today. Give myself another week or so and maybe come in here again and start clearing out a few more. And I think I can get another good section cleared out and opened up. And once all that's done, I will be able to come in here and start working on the actual soil amendments. So hit subscribe, as I said at the beginning, if you haven't already, and just join in to follow along with this plot, see how it comes across and see how it turns out.